Hi, I'm Pati, and welcome back to A Small Geeky Chica Figures. Today we're gonna do a little quick video to go over these clothing that you see in front that I have sewn. Since the last video that I made, I did this shirt based on an Obitsu 11 pattern. Then I kind of modified that to make this shirt that Shirogane is wearing. I made these little shorts based off a pattern from one of the Nendoroid doll books. And then I made this shirt based off that shirt. And then I tried an attempt at making a skirt using elastic for the waistband. And I'll go over that a little bit more in detail as I go through each and every one of these. Okay, first up is the shirt that Tanjiro is wearing. It's based on an Obitsu 11 pattern for a simple shirt to make. It's not the best job I've done. As you can tell, I made one sleeve is much longer than the other sleeve, so that's something definitely to work on. But other than that, I think my sewing has improved a little bit from the last few shirts that I've made. I do like it in general, so maybe I should try making more shirts using this pattern. I do think it's a little bit long. Sorry, his leg always comes off, as you know. Anyway, I do think this shirt is a little bit long, which is why when you'll see with Shirogane, I made a shorter version. At first I thought it might be a little too tight, but now looking at it, I actually kind of like that tightness. I think it does work for the Nendoroids, and even though at first I also thought the sleeves were a little too tight, now that I'm looking at it again, I do like them. I need to do better at making sure they end up about the same length, but I think it looks pretty good on the Nendoroid body, so I would definitely do a few more alterations to this pattern and try it again. But next up, we're going to see the alterations I did do with the shirt that Shirogane is wearing, which I do also like. So let's move on to that one. As you can see, this is the shirt that I was talking about. It's definitely using a different kind of cotton, so that also kind of affects how it looks. But I took the other Obitsu 11 shirt, made it shorter, and I do like this length better for the t-shirt. But I made the sleeves also bigger, which I think is a cute look. But I think it also ended up making this part of the shirt a little too wide, and then it gets really tight here, which if that's the look I was going for, it would be cute. Like, I would definitely make more shirts in this style on purpose. But I don't think that's actually what I want. I think I should go back and for the next time I make more shirts, do even more adjustments, alterations, and actually make this a little bit more tight there, so it's a little tighter on this part of the body. Because I did find the more I look at it is when I close the arms, I feel like this shirt does kind of pucker a lot and it just has too much space. And I don't know that much about sewing, to be honest, but I do think maybe sewing it a little bit more in here might help that. I could make these sleeves also a little less wide, like the one Tanjiro is wearing, but no, it's pretty cute. I would say it's a very cute, almost boxy shirt, and I would definitely make more shirts, and I have made more shirts, as you will see later, in this style. But I digress. That's the shirt. It came out pretty well. I think my sewing has gotten a lot better, as you can see, and I definitely did more ironing with this one. I still have to work on making my edges match, but I've kind of gotten a lot better at it, I feel like. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. My skills are leveling up. But anyway, actually, before I even made these two shirts, I made these pair of pants / shorts. They're more like shorts. I think they're actually based off a pattern that is more like supposed to be swim trunks. So they definitely have that kind of wide-legged feel of like swimming trunks. Maybe a little longer than they would normally be, but I did use an elastic waistband for this, which I had said before with the other pant tries I had made, I had wanted to try. So I definitely did it with this one, and I think it is a good idea. I don't know if I did it in the best way, and you can kind of see some of my sewing there. And I definitely used white thread just to make it easier on me. These are for practice. They're not like final products. So normally if I would actually make this as a final product, I would use a brown thread instead. But yeah, I think these are pretty cute. I haven't made another pair since then. I think I need to work on a little bit on these seams just because it kind of comes to a point there and I would rather it be a little more straight across. But that's something I need to work on and learn. Not bad for my first try at making a type of pants or shorts using the elastic. I definitely need more practice though, with pants just in general and with working with the elastic. But that is shirogane right there. And I will also be showing off another clothing attempt I did using the elastic, which I don't know if worked out as well as I would have hoped, but I think it's pretty cute. So let's move on to Nezuko. Last but not least, here we have Nezuko in her full matching outfit. So I made this second version of that shirt that Shirogane is wearing, which I did end up making the alterations I kind of mentioned before. I made it a little tighter, matching a little bit more the one Tanjiro is wearing based on the Obitsu 11 shirt. I did make the sleeves match a little bit better than the one Tanjiro was wearing. Made them a little bit thinner like I had mentioned, and I think it looks pretty cute too. It doesn't pucker quite as much as Shirogane's did. I'm not sure if I ended up ironing this one down as much. It still is a little bit weird around there in the back, but I think that is also just an effect of making this all from one piece of fabric instead of having the sleeves be separate and so on later. But overall, I think it's a cute shirt. More importantly though, for this one, more than the shirt, is the skirt that I made, which I'm sorry Nezuko, I'm gonna take off your hair. I'm gonna just take off your head for the minute just so we can get a better look at it. There you go. And so these arms up, just to move the t-shirt up a little bit. Yeah. And here we have the skirt that I made, which is a pretty long skirt. I ended up being longer than I meant it to be, and that is miscalculation on my end. I'm still learning how to do that. But basically, I just made kind of a tube skirt. I had a hard time matching these, which is what I need more practice in with using the elastics. But yeah, I used an elastic waistband for this. As you can tell, it also is, just to make sure it stays on her better. And I do like what it looks like. I need to work on it to make it better. But I'm not super fond of the way I added this elastic to it. It's one of the ways that one of the two ways that I have learned how to add elastic. And so this one I sewed through the middle of the elastic to get it. I sewed through the middle of these to get it to kind of ruffle a little bit. And that made it hard for me to sew them together at the very end because it just kind of kept puckering, I guess. Which, doing what it was supposed to do, just not when I wanted to do it. So I think next time I'm going to make it more in the style of Shirogane, where it's just the elastic is hovering in the middle, but it's not sewn directly onto the piece of fabric. But I still think it came out really cute, and it's really cute as a matching outfit. It's not perfect, but it's definitely progress. I do want to make another skirt. I do want to make one that flares out a little bit more. I feel like a lot of the dresses and skirts I made for are very, very straight, very A-line. While those are cute, it's not the only way I want to make skirts and dresses. So I definitely have a lot to work on. There are definitely a lot of Nendoroid dolls and Obitsu 11 patterns that I can work off. But sewing for something so small is really complicated, and while you're still learning and still gaining skills, I definitely have a way to go. But I am making progress. I am liking the stuff I'm making, and hopefully I continue making them. I might get a little more busy and take longer to make them in the future, but I still plan to continue making all these Nendoroid outfits. So that's it for this video. I only really worked on these 3 outfits, but I do have a little sneak peek for the next Nendoroid doll clothing video I will be making and editing. And that is the journey of making all these 19 Nendoroid shirts. All of these. So these are all made based off this Shirogane shirt. I was trying to see how many I can make in a series. by just kind of assembly line style, where I first worked on just the neckline, and then I did the hems, and then I sewed it together, and then I flipped it all inside out. And I've got a bunch of shirts that I've made following this. I meant to actually time myself doing it, but for some reasons and others, I got way distracted while I was working and didn't quite do that. But I am excited to show you and walk with you through making all these shirts. They've been really fun, but next time I'm only gonna make like 5 at a time. And I did learn a lot from these. I think it did help with my sewing skill. They're not perfect. There's some that are definitely messed up and didn't come out that great, like this one where one arm is definitely smaller than the other. And I made a lot of little adjustments as I went, so they're not even all perfectly equal to each other. But that will be, I'll go more into depth for that in another video. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed seeing these Nendoroid doll clothes that I've made. If you have any tips for sewing doll clothes or any questions of what I did to make these, just shoot me a comment. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more of these, consider liking and subscribing. I don't upload doll clothing videos as often, but I do upload figure videos and going over my Nendoroid collection or unboxing blind boxes every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And so hopefully you'll come and check in those. And every once in a while, I'll upload either a Nendoroid doll clothing video or maybe even like a set building or behind the scenes Nendoroid photography video on the random occasion. I make no promises to be consistent with those, but I am consistent with the Nendoroid collection videos and the unboxings on Fridays. Well, anyway, that's it for today. I hope to see you next time. Bye!